What's up, Magos? E finalmente chegou o grande dia de que vai mudar o Fortnite para todo sempre. Criativo 2.0 chegou, dia 22/3 é hoje, essa data marcante pro Fortnite. Mano, o bagulho vai ser insano. Eu fiz um react aqui do evento, né? Tem outras partes também que eu não consegui gravar, mas só que isso aqui foi a primeira parte mostrando como que funciona o Criativo 2.0. E cara, vamos ver. Cola comigo, se inscreve no canal, tamo junto e vamos que, mano, o Criativo 2.0 vai mudar a história do Fortnite.
I'm excited to get to show you some of the new experimental features we've been working on for Unreal Engine 5.2.
É umas paradas experimentais que eles já têm da Unreal Engine 5 2.0.
Alright, so last year,
Lindo, já
we
parece
added
lindo.
several new features to the engine to support foliage rendering.
Isso aí
And
foi
the
ano
Fortnite
passado.
team used those features to ship Battle Royale Chapter 4. At the same time, Jacob over there and the team at Quixel were experimenting with what's possible for photoreal foliage
Mano,
environments.
olha isso aí, velho. Isso
As
é
well as
jogo.
testing out the latest functionality that we've been building for Unreal Engine. So, Jacob's here with us today in the Unreal Editor. Let's explore the environment. And what better way to do that than off-roading? And what better way to off-road than in a Rivian R1T?
Caralho, velho. Olha isso
Now,
aí, meu irmão.
Rivian uses Unreal to power their instrument cluster, including 3D visualization of their vehicles. So we worked with them to bring the R1T to life in this experience. Let's head on out, Jacob.
Sure thing, on my way.
All right. So,
Mano,
we're building
você tá
tools
louco.
for interactive and dynamic worlds. So here we have chaos physics simulating rocks that tumble as we drive over them, leaves bend out of the way, and we also added some real-time fluid simulation.
Caraca, olha a água, meu irmão. Pelo amor de Deus,
We
velho.
worked with the team at Rivian to set up Unreal's chaos vehicle model to simulate the suspension of the truck.
Até a
how the
suspensão
electric motors drive each
da
individual
porra do
wheel.
carro.
Chaos also simulates how the tires compress and deform, and meta sounds enabled the team to precisely resynthesize the sounds of the electric motors and mix them with the ambisonics of the jungle.
Mano, o som, né? Caraca, insano.
So Rivian provided us with a highly detailed model of the truck, about 71 million polygons that were able to render in real
Olha os
time.
polígonos,
thanks to Nanite.
caraca.
Now the Rivian not only looks incredibly realistic because of Lumen and Nanite, but also its materials. And today, we're introducing Substrate, our new material framework.
Substrate. Cara, lindo
And to better
demais,
demonstrate
velho.
it, let's swap the paint out for Opal. Now, of course, you
Olha.
can't order a Rivian with Opal body panels, but Opal was the internal code name for this project, and also a really great demonstration of Substrate's capabilities.
Caraca.
The base layer models the iridescence, refraction, and reflections that occur inside of an opal. And on top of that is a layer representing the polished surface and how light is absorbed as it travels through that clear layer of varying depths. And now we can add back on the dust and dirt layers.
Olha, ele consegue
And
colocar
notice how the
várias
reflection
camadas
changes when interacting with the
de
dust
pó,
layer,
né?
and that there are no
De
artifacts along the
reflexos,
transition
caraca.
from dirt to dust to opal. So Substrate is more expressive, enabling artists to create materials like this with different shading models and
Tem
compose
vários,
and layer those materials
vários
as they see
tipos.
fit. All right, let's head
Cara,
on out,
lindo.
Jacob.
On my way.
In terms of performance, Substrate materials that are similar to the current Unreal Engine shading model cost about the same. But now, artists have the freedom to author more complex materials for extremely detailed use cases, like in cinematics and in film. So we're going to drive under this fallen tree here, and everything that you've seen up to this point was painstakingly hand-built by the environment team at Quixel. Everything since that fallen tree has been built using our brand new experimental suite of procedural content generation tools, entirely an engine that are flexible, deterministic, and artist-driven. Our guiding principle in building these systems was to empower artists to make tools for artists. So
Caralho,
Jacob's going to go ahead
velho.
and add a procedural assembly to the world. And the cool
Cara,
thing is that it communicates.
que foda!
Yeah,
Velho,
pretty cool.
você foi ao vivo, mano. Porra! Tá
And the cool thing is
maluco.
that it communicates with other nearby procedural elements in the scene, like the creek bed. So let's say a designer comes by, wants to direct the player to drive to the left. Jacob can simply move the assembly to the right, and everything updates to accommodate that change.
Mano.
Game design is iterative, So let's say the designer comes back, wants to give the player the choice of going left or right again. Jacob can simply move the assembly back over.
Velho, que é isso,
Now, the
mano? Como
artist
que
who
os caras
created
chegam
this
numa porra
assembly
dessa?
also added some additional handles that Jacob can use to art direct where rock slides occur. Allows him to customize the piece a little bit more, make it a little easier for the Rivian to drive by. So we started by handcrafting that original part of the level to set the visuals and art direction for the entire piece, and then built out procedural tools that allowed the team to create a much larger play space much more quickly. Now let's see how we can use these
o cara
procedural
consegue criar
tools
bagulho
to
maior,
make larger
mais
tweaks and
rápido, né,
changes
com
in the
isso aí.
environment. So Jacob, let's start by removing some of the trees in this area.
Absolutely.
Dá pra remover, obviamente. Nossa, ele pode escolher a quantidade.
Let's add some trees back in.
Okay.
And let's also add in some cliff formations, give it a little bit more variability. So the procedural systems are all deterministic, as Jacob is experimenting with different sets of input parameters. Once he finds a set that he likes,
Mano, é
he can
muito
always go back to
inteligente
it
o
and
programa,
get exactly
velho.
the
Que
same
isso?
results. And the procedural systems aren't just placing trees and rocks, but also fog cards, bugs, birds, everything that's needed to bring this environment to life. And everything that you've seen here works at scale. This environment is 4 kilometers by 4 kilometers. If we
4
hide all the
quilômetros.
procedural elements, we can see that original hand-built area about 200 meters by 200 meters.
Mano.
We believe that there will always be the need for hand-building environments, so we design these procedural systems to be tools for artists that work in concert with hand-built content. Both Substrate and the new procedural tools will be available in experimental form in 5.2. And everything you've seen here is running in the Unreal Editor in real time on a developer machine with an Intel 13900K CPU and NVIDIA RTX 4090 GPU. So Jacob, thanks for being
Uma
here.
máquina top, mas parece que tá funcionando pra todo mundo. Mas eu duvido, mano. Olha isso aí, filho.
All right, so come visit us at the Unreal Engine booth on the expo floor. You can check out this demo for yourself. And this afternoon, here in the YDCA, we'll have a tech talk diving into the details behind this demo. In addition, the Preview 1 build of Unreal Engine 5.2 is available now. So you can test out all of the experimental new features we showed today, as well as numerous other improvements. Head over to the Epic Games Store to download the binary build, and also get the full source code from the Unreal Engine repository on GitHub. Now, I found that we make the best technology for developers when we use it ourselves, when we really put the engine through its paces, both through tech demos like this one, as well as full game productions. So to talk about how the Fortnite team used the latest Unreal Engine 5 capabilities to ship Battle Royale Chapter 4, please help me welcome John Loth.
Vai falar do capítulo 4 do Fortnite. John Loth, Lead Technical Artist. Ele é o cara que manda ali nos
Chapter
bagulhos.
4, we wanted to show Fortnite in a way players had never seen before. We upgraded with broad strokes, using Lumen, Nanite, and other UE5 tech. We worked directly with the engine team to improve these features and ensure they scaled on all platforms Fortnite ships on. First up was lighting. Now, our options in the past to improve lighting have been somewhat limited because Fortnite is a really dynamic game. Big lighting just doesn't work because the moment a player destroys a wall, light maps are invalidated. So we were really excited to give Lumen a shot.
Olha!
It updates global illumination.
Caralho, velho! Que foda!
Early in Chapter 4 development, we captured a video of Lumen enabled in a Fortnite test build. And the player in the video destroyed a wall, and light just came flooding into the room. And honestly, it was pretty stunning. It brought new life to the environment, and the realistic bounce light worked great with Fortnite style.
Que foda! Mano, os caras vão criar uns bagulho bom.
You know, nothing is that easy in game dev. And as we discovered, real-world lighting can create real-world problems. Playtests revealed areas of the map, like attics and basements, that had no windows and were just too dark for gameplay. And it was also the first time we were using auto exposure, and it was causing bloomed-out areas when players were in dark interiors looking outside. We solved these issues using UE5 features like local exposure and some art-directable controls within Lumen that enabled us to provide a final image much better for gameplay. While the art team refined content, the engine team provided some new scalability options so that we could run Lumen on next-gen consoles at 60 frames per second.
Cara, os
In addition
bagulho
to lighting,
técnico
Nanite
mesmo,
opened the door
velho.
for us to add an incredible amount of detail to the Fortnite island. It was introduced in UE5 as a virtualized geometry system that supports extreme mesh complexity. So we spent some time experimenting, looking for a good balance between stylized art direction and detail, so we could increase visual quality, but still maintain Fortnite's iconic style. Now that artists weren't limited by triangle counts, we scaled our content pipelines to support Nanite on high-end hardware. Tech artists modeled new vegetation assets, and the art team created some high-detailed props and some amazing hero assets. But this still left us with a large building library that needed a visual upgrade. We resolved this using an offline process that took displacement maps from our materials and created high-resolution nanite meshes.
Olha o que dá pra fazer no
It was
bagulho,
really cool
velho.
to see these
Nossa.
classic Fortnite materials like brick, stone, and wood get a high-resolution facelift and pop off their surfaces.
Tá
Now, past
maluco.
Nanite demos have relied on static hard surface environments. But Fortnite's an animated world. Trees blow in the wind, and buildings wobble when hit. So we worked with the Nanite team, and they extended the material pipeline to include masked and animated materials on Nanite geometry.
Por isso que o jogo tá pesado pra caralho.
The island in Fortnite is constantly evolving, with major changes each season and complete reboots when chapters launch. So it's essential that we evolve our workflows too. During Chapter 4 development, we started utilizing 2 new UE5 features that changed how we build levels: World Partition and one file per actor. World Partition automates the level streaming, and it allowed us to work in one large level. We use level instance actors to group content logically, like a building and all of its props.
Caralho, mano. Olha o que dá
One
pra
file
fazer
per
no
actor
bagulho que
ensured
da
our
hora.
large
Vou
dev
tentar eu
team
até
work in
fazer.
this space without source control conflicts. Now, these features hadn't yet been put to their paces by a large dev team, so there were some early bumps in the road. But RLDs were in daily communication with the engine team, and we saw consistent improvements. Not long into production, we were developing Fortnite in a much more collaborative environment. Our goal for Chapter 4 was to deliver an awesome experience to our players.
Entregou.
But we also hope by using and improving the engine's newest features, we've improved your experience as well.
Fez
Now,
certo.
with a look at the amazing work developers are already doing in UE5, please welcome Dana Cowley.
Top, mano.
In our first game, you play as Captain Okni Rolling Rake.
Primeiro jogo dos caras da Qubits. Eles são uma publisher bem pequena da Europa.
A universe is already big at our scale, but when your main character is only a few millimeters tall, it takes on a whole new meaning.
Homem-Formiga.
As a studio, we have big ideas. As a small team, we need to make choices.
Eles são bem
And that's where
pequenos.
switching from UE4 to UE5 made a big difference for us. It has empowered us by giving us time back. Let me take you through a few examples.
Deu tempo pra
As
eles,
Okni
né?
is
Ele
very
disse, é
small,
porque eles
we
são
want players
pequenos.
to truly
Eles
feel
não
its
têm muito
sense of
tempo.
scale by having a large space to explore. By using world partition in UE5, we managed to save months of dev time. Not just because of the size of the world, but also because we can build on top of it. It allowed us to spatialize a lot of systems very
Caraca.
quickly. And with the built-in HLOD, we get strong
Tô mostrando
runtime
como o Unreal
performance,
Engine
while
5
being able
é
to load the
rápido,
entire
né?
world visually
Dá pra... É
in
porque eles mostraram ali colocando aquela árvore,
A
tirando
large
as
world
árvores.
is great.
Ah,
But it
é a
doesn't do us
beleza,
any
né?
good if it's
Essa
empty.
parada dos
And that's where the new
polígonos.
packed actors and level instances came in handy.
Caraca, vai dar pra
Level
fazer
designer
muita
can use
coisa,
prefabs to quickly
velho.
prototype ideas, while artists can refine those prefabs in
Vai dar pra
editor
fazer muita
by
coisa.
assembling assets together. And with one file per actor, it all happens
Caraca,
in
eu já tô
power.
vendo uns bagulho louco.
On the animation side, motion warping allows us to use a single animation for a large range of situations. And with Control Rig, we can quickly create those first pass animations
Olha.
in editor.
Dá pra criar até a
The
animação
most
dos
outstanding
bagulho.
features are Nanite and Lumen. We don't need to spend time on topology optimization and can directly use high poly meshes.
É, já tem os
Lighting
polígonos
is more
novos,
realistic,
eles não
and we
precisam
don't
ficar
have to
criando,
restrict
caralho.
transition between exterior and interior. All in all, working with V5 has been a tremendous time saver for us.
Velho, que
And
da
upgrading
hora.
from V4 was surprisingly easy. We were up and running in a couple of days. We can now iterate more quickly. focus on gameplay,
Quero já
and
jogar
allocate
esse jogo aí
time to
também.
obscure ideas. But enough talking. Go on the Epic Games Store and wishlist the game now.